Have you ever looked at an old penny and thought it was only worth 1 cent? Stop right there, because today's video could completely change the way you look at your loose change forever. Hidden inside dusty jars, forgotten piggy banks, old family collections, and even pocket change are coins that collectors are fighting over. Some of these old wheat pennies look dirty, scratched, and like they've been dragged through mud for more than 70 years. They may seem like trash, but certain rare examples have sold for hundreds and even thousands of dollars at auction. Today, we're counting down 3 incredible wheat pennies that might be worth far more than their face value. I'll show you exactly what to look for, why these coins became so desirable, and how a single penny could turn your loose change into serious cash. Many people believe these old coins disappeared because they were simply too old, but the real story is much more interesting. Over the years, the U.S. government removed many older coin designs from everyday circulation, while collectors quietly searched for the finest surviving examples. Some coins remained untouched in mint state condition, while others spent decades hidden in drawers, buried in dusty change piles, or even recovered from lakes and abandoned properties. Today, expert dealers will pay serious money for the right coin, especially if it has a rare variety, an unusual era, or exceptional condition. So before you spend another old penny, stay with me until the very end, because one of the coins in today's countdown has shocked collectors with an auction price that most people would never believe. This is the 1953 wheat penny, and at first glance, it looks like nothing more than an old 1-cent coin. Maybe it's dark, worn smooth, covered in date, or looks like it's been dragged through mud for more than 70 years. Most people would toss it into a jar without a second thought. But don't make that mistake just yet. Some 1953 wheat pennies have surprised collectors with values reaching hundreds, and in exceptional mint state condition, even thousands of dollars. Today, I'm showing you exactly what to look for before you spend one. The 1953 wheat penny was struck during the final years of the famous wheat cent design. Millions were produced, but time has not been kind to many of them. Countless examples were lost, damaged, cleaned, or worn down through decades of everyday use. That's why truly original, untouched coins are becoming much harder to find, and collectors are willing to pay a premium for the best surviving examples. One of the first things you should check is the date. Make sure it clearly reads 1953. Then look just below the date for a mint mark. If there is no mint mark, the coin was struck in Philadelphia. A D means it came from Denver, while an S means it was produced in San Francisco. Each mint has its own collector demand, and condition plays a huge role in determining value. Now here's where things get interesting. A dated coin isn't automatically worthless. In fact, many experienced collectors would rather own a naturally aged coin than one that has been cleaned. Original surfaces are highly respected in the collecting community because they show the coin hasn't been altered. Cleaning an old coin can actually reduce its value. Imagine finding a 1953 wheat penny hiding in an old coffee can, tucked inside a forgotten drawer, or mixed into a pile of loose change from a family member. It might look ordinary, but if the details are still sharp and the coin has never been heavily circulated, you could be holding something much more valuable than 1 cent. Collectors pay close attention to the color of copper coins. A bright red example with original mint luster is often worth far more than a brown coin that circulated for decades. Those brilliant red coins are much harder to find because copper naturally darkens over time. Mint state is a phrase you'll hear again and again in the coin hobby. It means a coin shows little or no wear from circulation. A 1953 wheat penny preserved in mint state condition can attract strong interest whenever it appears on the market, especially if it has attractive eye appeal. Auction results prove that condition changes everything. While common circulated examples may sell for modest amounts, premium mint state coins have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars when certified by professional grading services. That's why collectors inspect every detail before making an offer. Don't ignore small details. Look closely for strong wheat lines on the reverse, sharp lettering, and a clear portrait. Coins with fewer marks and better preservation are often the ones that attract the highest bids from serious collectors. One mistake many beginners make is polishing old pennies to make them shiny. Resist the temptation. A polished coin may look better to the untrained eye, but experienced buyers usually prefer original surfaces. Keeping a coin untouched is often the smarter choice. Another exciting possibility is finding an unusual mint era. While most 1953 wheat pennies are normal, Examples with noticeable striking errors or dramatic die varieties can bring much stronger prices because of their rarity. Some of the most valuable discoveries happen completely by accident. A collector searching through dusty change piles, inherited collections, or old coin albums can suddenly come across a forgotten wheat penny that has been sitting unnoticed for decades. That's one reason coin collecting continues to attract people around the world. If you think you found a promising 1953 wheat penny, avoid spending it. Place it in a protective holder and examine it carefully under good lighting. A professional grading service can authenticate the coin and confirm its condition, which is especially important before selling a potentially valuable example. The price of collectible coins can rise as demand grows and the finest examples become harder to obtain. That's why expert dealers continue searching for original, high-grade wheat pennies. The right coin, with the right condition and eye appeal, can command surprisingly strong prices. So before you dismiss that old 1953 wheat penny as just another dirty cent, take a closer look. What appears to be a forgotten piece of pocket change could be a collectible that enthusiasts have been searching for. And remember, this is only the beginning of today's countdown, because the next wheat penny has an even more fascinating story, and its value may surprise you even more. The next coin on today's countdown is the legendary 1955 wheat penny. If you have ever searched through old jars of pennies or inherited a family coin collection, this is one date you never want to overlook. At first glance, it may look like an ordinary old 1-cent coin that has been sitting in dusty change pile for decades. It might be daty, faded, or even look like it has been dragged through mud for more than 70 years. But don't let its appearance fool you. The right 1955 wheat penny can be worth hundreds, thousands, and in exceptional cases, even tens of thousands of dollars. The 1955 wheat penny has become one of the most talked about Lincoln cents in American coin collecting. While millions were struck for circulation, a small number became famous because of a remarkable mint error. Today, collectors across the country continue searching for these coins, hoping to discover one hidden in an old collection or forgotten coin jar. The very first thing you should check is the date. Make sure it clearly reads 1955. Then look beneath the date for a mint mark. If there is no mint mark, the coin was struck in Philadelphia. A D represents Denver, while an S stands for San Francisco. Every version has collector interest, but one Philadelphia variety has become an absolute legend. Now comes a detail that changed coin collecting forever. Some 1955 Philadelphia pennies were struck with a dramatic double die obverse. On these rare coins, the date, the word liberty, and the motto "In God We Trust" appear boldly doubled. You don't need expensive equipment to notice it. Even with a naked eye, the doubling can be obvious, and that's exactly why collectors get so excited when they spot one. Imagine finding one of these while sorting through loose change from an old estate. To most people, it still looks like an old penny. But to an experienced collector, that bold doubling could mean the difference between 1 cent and thousands of dollars. Stories like this are exactly why people continue checking every wheat penny they find. Condition still matters. A heavily circulated example may have spent decades changing hands across America. But a coin with sharp details, original color, and very little wears in a completely different category. Mint state examples are especially prized because so few survive without entering heavy circulation. Here's something many beginners don't realize. Never clean a 1955 wheat penny. Even if it looks dirty or dull, that natural surface is often preferred by collectors. Cleaning can remove the original finish and significantly reduce the value of an otherwise desirable coin. Auction records have shown just how valuable the famous 1955 double die can become. Certified examples with strong doubling and excellent preservation have sold for thousands of dollars, while outstanding mint state specimens have reached astonishing prices. That's why expert dealers carefully inspect every 1955 Philadelphia cent they encounter. Even if your coin isn't the famous double die variety, don't lose hope. High-grade 1955 wheat pennies with beautiful original surfaces still attract collector interest. The combination of age, historical significance, and demand keeps these coins popular year after year. Many of these pennies spend decades in circulation before disappearing from everyday use. Others remain safely stored inside old albums, forgotten drawers, or inherited collections. Every once in a while, someone opens an old box and discovers a coin they never realized had real collector value. Professional grading services play a major role in today's coin market. Having an important 1955 wheat penny authenticated and graded can increase buyer confidence and help establish its market value, especially if it turns out to be the famous double die variety. The popularity of the 1955 wheat penny continues growing because it tells an incredible story. A simple production mistake at the mint created one of the most famous era coins in American history. What once entered circulation as everyday pocket change is now one of the hobby's most recognized treasures. So if you ever come across a 1955 wheat penny, don't rush to spend it. Examine every letter, every number, and every detail carefully. That tiny coin could be hiding one of the most celebrated mint eras ever produced, and collectors are always watching for another authentic example. Thousands of ordinary pennies pass through people's hands every year without a second glance. Yet every so often, someone notices something unusual, and that single moment changes everything. That's why experienced collectors never ignore an old wheat penny, especially one dated 1955. We've already uncovered two fascinating wheat pennies, but don't go anywhere. The final coin on today's countdown has an incredible history of its own, and under the right circumstances, it can also be worth far more than its face value. Stay with me until the end, because the last coin may be the biggest surprise of today's video. Now we've reached the final coin in today's countdown, and it's one that has fascinated collectors for generations, the 1944 wheat penny. At first glance, it looks like just another old copper penny that has spent decades in circulation. It may be dark, scratched, dirty, or look like it has been dragged through mud for more than 80 years. Most people would never imagine that a coin looking this ordinary could be worth far more than 1 cent. But before you toss a 1944 wheat penny into your loose change, you need to know what makes certain examples so valuable. The year 1944 was an important time in American history, and millions of wheat pennies were produced to meet the nation's demand for everyday money. Most 1944 pennies were struck in copper-colored bronze after the steel cents of 1943. While the majority are common in circulated condition, a few rare varieties have become some of the most valuable Lincoln cents ever discovered. The first thing you should do is check the date carefully. Make sure it clearly says 1944. Then look for the mint mark below the date. No mint mark means Philadelphia, a D means Denver, and an S means San Francisco. Every mint produced 1944 wheat pennies, but collectors know that certain rare errors and unusual metal compositions can make one coin dramatically more valuable than another. Here's where the story becomes exciting. During 1944, pennies were supposed to be made from bronze. However, a very small number were accidentally struck on leftover steel planchets from 1943. These rare 1944 steel wheat pennies are among the most famous era coins in American numismatics. They are exceptionally scarce and have sold for tens of thousands, and in some cases, well into six figures, when authenticated and in desirable condition. So how can you perform a simple first check at home? Try using a small magnet. A normal 1944 bronze wheat penny will not stick to a magnet. If a genuine 1944 penny is magnetic, that's a strong reason to have it examined by a reputable coin expert, because it could be an extremely rare steel example. Authentication is essential, since altered coins and counterfeits also exist. Even if your coin isn't the rare steel variety, don't lose interest. A beautifully preserved 1944 wheat penny with original surfaces and strong details can still be desirable to collectors. Coins with sharp wheat ears, crisp lettering, and attractive natural color often command much stronger prices than heavily worn examples. Many of these pennies spent decades in everyday circulation. They pass through grocery stores, gas stations, family businesses, and countless pockets before eventually ending up in old jars, dresser drawers, dusty change piles, and inherited collections. That's exactly why so many people continue searching through old coins today. One of the biggest mistakes new collectors make is cleaning old copper coins. It might seem like a good idea to remove dirt or make the coin shine, but cleaning usually lowers collector value. Experienced buyers generally prefer original, untouched surfaces because they preserve the coin's history and authenticity. Professional grading have become increasingly important in today's coin market. A certified mint state 1944 wheat penny with exceptional eye appeal can attract strong competition from collectors. The better the preservation, the greater the demand tends to be. Auction records continue to show that outstanding examples of the 1944 wheat penny can bring impressive prices. While ordinary circulated coins are usually worth modest amounts, scarce varieties, rare errors, and top-quality certified examples have achieved remarkable results whenever they appear at major auctions. If you're searching through old collections, slow down and inspect every 1944 wheat penny carefully. Check the date, the mint mark, the color, the weight if possible, and whether the coin responds to a magnet. Small details often separate an ordinary coin from an extraordinary discovery. One reason the 1944 wheat penny remains so popular is that it reminds collectors that incredible finds can still happen. Every year, people discover valuable coins hidden in forgotten albums, estate collections, and containers of loose change that sat untouched for decades. Expert dealers never judge an old penny by its appearance alone. A coin that looks worn, dusty, or unattractive may still deserve a closer inspection. That's why experienced collectors examine every detail before deciding whether a coin is ordinary or something truly special. Imagine finding a rare 1944 steel cent while sorting through a family coin collection. What looked like a simple 1-cent coin could turn out to be one of the hobby's most celebrated discoveries. Stories like these continue inspiring collectors to search through every old wheat penny they can find. So before you spend another old 1944 wheat penny, give it a careful look, check the date, inspect the mint mark, leave the coin uncleaned, and pay attention to unusual characteristics. You never know when an overlooked coin could become the highlight of your collection, or a valuable piece that collectors are eager to own. And if you enjoyed today's countdown, remember that there are many more old U.S. coins with fascinating stories and surprising values waiting to be discovered.